recording again. So guys, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and you can see my screen as well, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is what we have discussed about the software testing types, right? Functional and non-functional testing. Now, under the non-functional testing, you will have many subtypes, and also in the functional testing, you will have many subtypes, right? That we will discuss later part, right? But now, after these things, I want to make you aware about different levels of software testing, right? We do the software testings with the different levels of software testing, right? Different levels of software testing. Now, how are we gonna describe these things? Let me give you one example, right? Suppose we have one customers, right? We have one customer says, I want my Zuzu app to be released first version, right? The version 1.0 with number of requirement will be 10 requirements or 20 requirements, right? And to be released means release date should be I need it to be released by 31st March, right? 31st March 2020. This is the things that they have given to us, right? And that means you want to release the Zuzu app, you want to release the Zuzu app, right? The version 1 with 20 requirement in 31st March, right? And that is something you can just, we have only 1 month to complete, right? And people says, okay, we have only 1 month to complete. Or let's we do one thing, let's we take some the realistic date, right? I would not take whole date. So this is currently 21 September, right? So they want 21st October to release, right?
Mm-hmm.
After 1 month. So 1 month 20 requirements is pretty much impossible. But what the project manager did, right? Project manager says, okay, if you want to finish this 20 requirement on earliest basis, right? I need 9 developer or I need 6 developer. You see, I need 6 developer. I need 3 testers. I need 3 designer, right? If you give me the team of these peoples, I will do this website in 1 month, right? This is the requirement project manager put to the company, and company approved. Company says, okay, you are fine to go with your team, right? Make your team and complete this task on the deadline. This is the deadline from the customer, right? This is the deadline from the customer. Now what is happening? We have minimum time and we have one application. This is our application. Let's suppose this is our application, right? Okay, this is our application and it just says the 3 modules it has. uh, I will just say it's product page, right? Product page which have the 7 requirements, right? Product page will have the 7 requirements. Then what else we have? We have order page, right? It has another 7 requirements, right? On the order page will have another 7 requirement. Then we will have last payment page. This is the application that we need, and it has 6 requirement. So total 20 requirements, 3 modules. You got my point?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is how the real-time application is also get divided, right? And this is overall, if you count, this is a Zuzu.com, right? This is like Amazon.com. This is Zuzu.com, and this has 3 pages with the different kind of requirement. Now, what project manager will do? Okay, if everybody cannot work on everything, right? So he will divide the requirement. He says payment page will be different, order page will be different, and the product page will be different. So he says divide the application in 3 modules. You see over here, it divide the application in 3 modules, right? It says, okay, this is module 1, this is module 2, and this is module 3, right? Now he also divide the team as well, right? So it says, okay, product module, right? Product module, and he just says, okay, my developer number 1 and 2 will work, 1 and 2 developer will work on this one, right? And just let me put this thing something over here. My tester 1 will work on this app and these modules, and my one designer will work on this one, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what he did? what he did, he just divide his team, right? He just divide his team in a different way. So now this four people, right? Two developer, one designer, one tester, gonna work on this product module. Then we will have another things, order module, right? Then it says my developer, then it says my developer number, sorry. Then it says, okay, then it says my developer number 3 and 4, right? 3 and 4 developer will work on this one. My second tester will work on this module testing. My second designer will design the all the page we required for this module, right? Then they will gonna finish the order module, right? Now the last module will be the payment module, right? That means I will just use my last two developer, fifth and sixth will work on this one. Then my third tester will work on this one, right? And third designer will work on this one, right? So this is how he divide his team, right? So three tester got divided, three developer got divided, sorry, six developer got divided and three tester got divided, right? Now they will work by themselves as a team, right? This is one
Mm-hmm.
team, this is sub teams, right? So they will work as a team, and they this five will make sure product page is working as expected with the customer requirement. This five will make sure order page is working as per the customer requirement, and this five will make sure payment page is working as per the requirement. Now once the developer will develop these things, right, the tester will test these things at this level, so that is called unit testing, right? Or you can just say module testing. Modules means unit, right? Single unit, that means single modules. So over here what we are doing, we are testing the application independently, right? We are not testing the application overall, we are just testing the application independently with respect to small modules, right? Product module, project module and all those things, right? So that is called module testing, right? This is first level of testing, unit testing. Testing the modules independently to each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
That is called module or unit testing. Mainly people use the unit testing. This can be done by the tester or the developer. Anybody can do these things, tester or developer, right? Module unit testing that can be done by anybody, tester or most of the time tester do these things, right? Now, suppose the project manager says, okay, product module is working fine, order module is working fine, payment module is working fine. Now, do one thing, integrate them to each other, right? So they will create two integration plan. So they will create the first integration plan like this way, right? And second integration plan like this way, right? So they are integrating the product. You got my point. So what they are doing? Okay, now you want to test payment plus order module. Sorry, product plus order module together, right? And over here you want to test once user place the orders, it is making the successful payment or not. So both the modules together, right? So this is okay, create this two plan and try to test them together. If all the functionality working together, that means it's good to go for the next level, right? So once user select the required product, right, are user able to make this successful on the order page or not? And once the product is coming to the order page, are user able to make the successful payment or not, right? So this is the next requirement. And when you finish this next requirement and you do the testing, that is called integration testing. Integration testing, where two or more modules are integrated, right, to each other, and we do the testing. That is called integration testing, right? Now suppose the tester says, yeah, everything is fine, product module is working fine with the order module, and order module is working fine with the payment modules, everything is fine, right? Then tester come up with these things. This is okay, now combine everything, right? Combine everything. So what they will do, they will first says, product module, right? They will first says product module, then they says order module, right? And then this is payment module, right? So they will combine everything. So they will combine everything, right? And now this is okay, everything is combined. Now do one more time testing, right, to just make sure from product to order and from order to payment, means from product to payment is working fine or not, right? That is called system testing. You are testing the application as one complete system, right? One complete system, that is
Mhm.
called system testing. Are you following, guys, right?
Mhm.
Yeah. So now you see, at the end of the day, we have for the product page, we have product module. For order page, we will have order module, and for the payment page, we will have the payment module. Now, everything unit testing done, integration testing done, system testing done. Now, tester done from their part. Now, what will come next? Khola, the next level of testing. What will come next level? Any idea? Hello, hello, Khola. Can you hear me? I think she's on a mute. Anthony,
Yeah.
can you guess what will next come? Once tester will finish their testing, what else we can do over here?
After the testing,
Yeah. Sorry?
is it sent back to the project manager?
So we gonna
Sorry, I didn't realize I muted myself. Sorry,
okay,
sorry, I'm here.
okay. No worries.
Sorry, I was talking. Sorry.
No worries. So what we will come once tester finish their testing, tester finish their all the level of testing, right? Then what the next will come?
I'm not sure.
You remember the UAT, right?
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
UAT means you are calling the users now to do the user acceptance testing, guys.
Right.
Right, so it says ask the customer, okay, your application is ready to launch on 21st October, right? And now just come to our office, or we can do the remote session. I will show you all the 20 requirements on all the modules, how we have done, right? And that is called the last level of testing, that UAT testing, user acceptance testing. You got my point? So what are
Mhm.
the false level in
Mhm.
order? First we do the unit testing, which is independently module testing. Then we do the integration testing, where we have two or more modules integrated to each other. Then we will do the system testing, where we will integrate all the modules together and we make one proper system, and we do the testing on system testing. Then at the last we have the UAT testing, user acceptance testing. You got my point? These are
Mhm.
the four levels of software testing, always remember, right? These are the four levels of software testing. Okay. Okay, now let's move forward, right? Let's move forward to the next topics. We will talk about few functional testing types. We already discussed the few little bit about the non-functional testing. We will go in detail about the non-functional testing later on, but let's we talk about the functional testing type, right? So there are few of the functional testing type. I will just say is smoke testing, right? Then we will have sanity testing. Then we will have regression testing. Then we will have end-to-end testing, end-to-end testing. These are the mostly common used word, right? This will come in your resume as well. You got my point? I am do the
Mhm.
regression testing, I do this testing and that testing and all those things. So these are the four testing we're going to discuss with the practical approach, right? How it's going to be work in the real organization. Now again, suppose customer says, I want to release Zuzu.com, right? With number of requirement, right? It says number of requirement is 20, right? And my first version, it is my first version. And release date, they have decided, release date, right? They have decided 31st of October 2020, right? That means we need to make sure our application is developed and tested successfully before 31st October, right? then and then we can release on that stuff, right? So this is what we have done, right? Now the developer is developing the applications, right? The developer is developing the applications, and they give to the tester to do the testing, right? So developer, so what normally developer will give the tester to do the testing on web based application? Hola.
What do you mean? What will they give him?
Let's suppose you are a developer, right? And you want to give me, okay, Ankit, go and test this application, right? This is
The
web based.
requirements?
No, not the, yeah, the requirement is the first thing. Then what else they can give?
I don't know.
Don't you give me the URL? What URL I need to do the testing?
Oh, the information on what you're going to be testing.
Exactly. So they will send the URL. They says, okay, this is www.developerserver.login page. Just go and do the testing, right? So the developer will send the URL plus the list of requirement to the tester to test, right? This is
Mhm.
the this is the normal flow. It's going to be work. Developer will send the email to the tester with URL and list of requirement they have developed to test to the tester, right? So now over here, suppose developer just give the URL www.zuzu.com, right? And they says this is 20 requirement is done from our side, right? So what tester need to do? Tester need to test this application, right? So what is mock testing? The mock testing, you can consider the initial level of testing on the basic functionality, right? So first, what developers tester will do, just copy this URL and go to the browser, right? Copy the URL, go to the browser and just hit the URL, right? And suppose they have mistaken the URL, or developer has given the wrong URL, and this is, oh shit, this website is not working. You see, this site is
Mhm.
cannot be reached, means something wrong with the URL, or something wrong with the website itself, or they have not started some services or something like that. So you are checking the initial level, right? Initial level of the application before going to the detailed level of testing, that is called mock testing. Build verification testing, right? You are verifying whatever the build given by the developer. Build means final version of the application, right? Build means final version of the application. So developer give you the final version, and you try to access that final version, you are not able to access that initial stage. That is called mock testing. That means you, what you will do now in this case, you take a screenshot and you send to the customer, you send to the developer, see, this application is not working. Now what developer will do? Okay, developer will understand what is the problem. They might be found, okay, we have not started this service, and that's the reason application is not working. Or they have given the incorrect URL itself. They sometimes forgot to mention the correct URL. So they says, okay, this is the correct URL. Now hit. Okay, now he says, okay, now we are able to see the application. You see, something zuzu.com is coming. Some useful information is coming, right? So he says, okay, now we are able to access the application. So we can go and test the 20 requirements, right? Because we are able to access the application fine. So first testing will be says build verification testing, and build means final version of application, which we give to the tester, which we give to tester to test. That is called build, right? Now once we finish the build verification testing, that means we need to go with the detailed level of testing, right? So we will test that 20 requirements, this 20 requirement that is come under sanity testing. Now we are doing a actual detailed testing of all 20 requirements, right? One by one, right? We are checking everything on this stuff's 20 requirement. That is called sanity testing, right? So sanity testing come after this mock testing. You do the actual detailed testing of the requirement that is done by the developer on the specific version, right? Then what is regression testing? In the regression testing, you make sure. Now suppose after the sanity, right, the tester says, okay, it's okay to develop, it's okay for the developer or cloud engineer to host this application on developer server or on the production server, right? They give good to go. This is okay, everything looks fine. you can host this application on the production server or developer server, right? So at that time, once it is hosted on developer or production server, you do the regression testing. In the regression testing, what you make sure? You make sure all modules, all pages, all links, all buttons, all images, right, all drop downs are working fine. So you do not follow any requirement, you do not follow any documentation. You just go to the application and start clicking on everywhere, right? And you make sure everything is working fine or not, right? Suppose if I want to do the regression testing for ebay.com, right, that means I need to click on everywhere. You see, sign in, registration, daily deals, help, search button, right? So I will do everything, right? And I will just enter something over here quickly and just say search. That means my search button is working fine, it's giving the search result. Then my registration page is working fine, my sign in page is working fine, my daily deals page is working fine. So everything I clicked and I just make sure my application is good to go, right? That is called regression testing. You got my point?
Mhm.
Mhm.
Now suppose the same customer says, okay, we are happy with the version 1, right? Now we have this version 2 to be released, right? Version 2 to be released. Now we have new requirement, new number of new 20 requirements, right? New 20 requirements. So what is the total requirement now? 20
20.
plus 20. That means 40, right? 20 they have given on the first version and now they are giving us new 20. You see, new 20 requirement, that is in the second version, right? So the second version will have total 40 requirements, 20 from the first version and 20 new added from the second version, right? And they give us the release date on 31st of December
You still have
2020.
to test all the,
Sorry?
so you still have to test the first 20 and the new 20, right?
Exactly, exactly. Now the developer says, okay, we have finished another 20, right? Another 20 requirements on same URL. You can do the testing and all those things. So now developer will not make the same mistake. They will make sure the URL is working fine, so it is not get failed in the initial stage. So developer will finish the build verification, right? And once build verification is done, developer says, okay, it's good to go, right? So it is good to go to the sanity testing, means detail level of testing. Now the change is over here. In the sanity testing, you are not going to test 1 to 14 requirement. You got my point? You are just testing the 21 to 14th requirement, the new requirements
Oh, so you're
in
not
detail, yeah, one by one, right? You are not testing the requirement that you have already tested in the version 1. You are just testing the new requirement, which is from 20 point number 21 to 14. You got my point?
Yeah.
Yeah. And now also to make sure if this new requirement will have any interaction with the old requirement, you also test those part, right? Let's suppose in the first 20 requirement you have the requirement about the payment page, and in this new 20 requirement you also have the requirement related with the payment page. So at that time you need to make sure the new requirement changes does not affect the old functionality, right? So what you do,
Mhm.
you find the common stuffs and you do the testing with respect to that stuffs as well, right? If all the 20 requirements is new, then no need to do these stuffs. But you find, okay, this might gonna be effect with our current requirement, then you filter out those requirement and you do the testing for that one as well. That is called sanity testing, right? So this will be different on the sanity testing. Now once sanity testing is done, you ask the developer to host on the development and production environment. Again you do the regression testing, right? Now suppose in the 20 requirement, if you want to click on 20 pages or 20 modules, right? Or you have the 20 links, but now it's a 14 requirements. So you have to click on all the page, all the links. So the link of the page is more, the buttons will be more, the images will be more, and all those things will be more, right? So that is the regression testing. And we use the automation to automate this part only, regression part, right? Because regression part is something it get enhanced version by version, new functionality got added. But in the regression testing, you have to test everything from first to last, right? This is not about you need to test only new one. You have to click on every button which is already exists in the system, and the buttons which are newly added by the system, right? So all those things you need to do in the regression testing on every version. And that's the reason people do the automation testing, so they can automate these stuffs, so that will save their lots of time, right? Suppose if you have 300 requirement or 500 requirement, right? Then how it's going to be work? You cannot go and test everything, every page, every click, right? So before doing that steps, you make the automation script, so it will run in the background over the night, and it will give you the result of the regression testing, right? So this is, guys, smoke testing, sanity test, and regression test. They definitely ask you the difference between them. What is a smoke testing? What is the difference between the smoke testing and sanity test? What is the difference between the sanity test and the regression test, right? Many times people get confused, but this is a little difference over here. You need to make sure.
Mm.
Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
let's do one thing. Let's keep this thing as of now, and in the next session we will learn more about the non-functional testing, what is performance, what is load testing, and all those things. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.